you truly want to learn how to read the charts, it's going to require you to take time with it. Yes, you can get the algorithms, you can get, bot chat box and trading bots. Yes, you can join discourse. Yes, you can take your favorite trades off the people that you really love following online. But there is nothing like learning how to read the charts for yourself. I am in this for a lifetime. I don't know about you, but if you're watching this, you want to continue to improve so that you can be sharper every day with trading. And this is something that's just going to be a skill for the rest of your life. And also, it could be a skill for your family, future generations, everything. So we want to be good stewards of this. So you are in the right place. So I am Denisha with Tradevine. And also, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not telling you what to trade. I'm just giving you thought processes behind what we are seeing so that you can think through these things while you're charting and planning your trades, but also while you're actually executing. Because sometimes when that candle is moving and it's dropping and you got the information in the background and you're hearing different things, the speed of it could seem like you don't have time, like you got a FOMO in. But the thing about it is that when we look back, I'm like, oh, I have 5 minutes to actually execute. I had 15 minutes to execute. I had an hour to actually execute on this. Or I could have waited just 1 hour versus getting in this chop. I could have used that chop, the sideways consolidation, to prepare then to enter, right? After a specific candle on a higher time frame closed. And so, anywho, we're about to dive right into IWM, which is the Russell 2000 EFT. It is now 101 p.m. and I am on my simulator account, not my live account. So again, this is about studying and preparing. I was actually on my live account this morning and I am looking for another entry. And so we're going to be talking about that here. But if we go back and we look at these lines right here, these represent weekly levels. And so these weekly levels, we can see that we're in between that right now. If we find current price, we see where we're at. We look to the left, we have this candle here. But let's go ahead and look to the left a little bit more. And you will see that this top weekly level actually became the floor. So if we think of floor and we think of ceiling, price actually rallied up, formed this base, and then actually set here. They put a chair right here and set here, right? And artist stood here, and this became the floor. But then the next day, that floor actually weakened and it broke down into the basement or below ground, right? And so we also see that price actually did stop here. The next day we had or no, the next week, this is a weekly chart. Correction, this is a weekly chart. The next week we did have some movement that rallied upward into this area again, but then ultimately it came down and it sold off. Now, this was back in December. But if we look back now, because we want to see what is happening now, right? But let's also use history to inform us. So we know if we're in this area, it's going to be some chop. But there's still opportunities. So let's go down to so if we look at the candle, it's still in this indecision. It's forming this doji. It does have some body to the candle, but it's forming the doji. So let's go down to the daily chart. And so we can see that when Powell had basically alluded to interest rate cuts, the rally actually did, the market did rally. And so we are in this bull flag, right? But we're going to see if this actually becomes invalidated. If it breaks, let's see, we'll see if it breaks down here. I'll go back over that. But right now, we're seeing that we had let's go. I'm going to the drawing. So I'm actually on Thinkorswim. We can see and see you can do this so many ways, right? But we want to be mindful of it. So I'm gonna take it here. But what we can see though is if we do our measured move from here to here with this candle, and if this bullish candle, this Maribozo, if this does play out next week, the week after, we shall see. But if it does play out, then I've already measured that. If it breaks out, then IWM is going to 247.30. but we don't know when. Because clearly it's pushing back right now, right? All right, so right now we are at 234.92. I'm gonna take this down to my hourly because this is actually what I was watching. So we can see that the two indicators that I have on my chart are VWAP and the 200 EMA. Now, you will get individuals who say they don't use indicators. They don't use anything on their chart. They just use support and resistance. They just use supply and demand. Wonderful. There's so many different strategies. However, as you're learning, why not use some indicators, try out different ones that work for you, and then you'll be able to see oftentimes when an indicator is right there, you'll also see different levels right there. You'll see rejections right there. You'll see supply, you'll see demand oftentimes, right? It'll also give you an indication of where price could be going, right? It will also give you an indication of actually on the 1 hour trend, we are still above the 200 EMA, which means that we are still bullish, right? However, if we're below it, that doesn't mean it won't pull back because this looks like it's forming a H formation, so we shall see. And if that is the case from here to here, it definitely could come down here to this 232.46 before the close of the day. But we shall see. The market does what the market wants to do. It's also Friday, so we want to be mindful of that. We also have this level here at 233.89, which price historically, a few days, 2 days ago, came here, fell down to more at some point in the day, and found support at 233.85. So this also could be a level. So what I'm looking for now is for price to break this 234.80-ish area. If it could break here and show that it wants to actually come down further, then this could be an entry that I take later on. I don't know. I don't know if I'm taking it. So you don't take it. You look and see what works for you. Because this is the thing. I don't know if you've experienced this. I have. But if you follow some signals, they're not right all the time, right? Sometimes they are right, but it happened later in the day and you really needed more time on that contract, or it happened a few days later. So you got to be able to go in here and be like, if this, then that, if that, then this, and mark your chart that works for you so that it's visible and you can see it, but that you are also being aware of the risk that you're taking. Because when it comes down to it, it's your money. And I get it. We want 3 minutes, no reading the chart, put in the, order, money in the bank in 5 minutes, money in the bank in the account, by the time I wake up in the morning. And that can happen, but anything can shift the market and it can change. So also we want to be mindful of our risk tolerance and things like this. Again, we are talking through this. If you are by yourself, if you are trading, we want to be talking through this as we're doing it. Like I have a co-host, as many know who are already watching this, which is my baby. Okay. And so she's a lifetime apprentice learning, but she's also a toddler. So we're in potty training, we're in all kind of stuff. And so I also got to be mindful of those things too as I'm trading. So we want to make sure that we can focus on what matters off the charts, but then use different things like these indicators, like our lines that make sense, right? Sometimes we put lines in the wrong places and it gotta make sense, right? With those levels. And so because I know here it became support at one point, maybe looking at if it comes and retests around here, this 233.77 level. But again, I would have to analyze that and continue to refine and look at my plan. So right now we're still in this consolidation chop zone, especially if I go down. Well, on the 1 hour, you're seeing that this VWAP was rejected. If we would, even though we're still overall in a bullish trend, if we would have came back above the VWAP and had a seat here, right, or stood strong here, then this would have been an indication that now the overall trend is flipping bullish, right? At least for the session, right? But it didn't. It rejected. Still is a bullish candle. We see this inverted hammer, but it has a smaller wick. And then the next candle open, we see is right now in a hammer, but it's bearish. And so we are going to see because price came down, right? But buyers at this 235.12 level brought it back up, right? Purchased it. And so now we are teetering in this area on the 1 hour. I do like the 1 hour because it helps me clearly see, like yesterday, we're seeing it, okay, we came below VWAP and it just stayed here, this point of control. It just stayed here, right? And then even during pre-market, it did fall some and then it rallied back up. Before the opening, it rallied and it actually was testing high of the day yesterday from yesterday. And so it didn't. It ended up selling off. So we got to think about what normally happens on Friday, what normally happens on these days, and then know the things that we are trading. Now, again, the market can do what the market wants to do. Okay. So we could be right, but something shifted and it just didn't go the way we thought it was going to go. And that's where our stops and things come into play. So anyway, now we're at 235.03. This 235 is a psychological lever when we think about the number. And then we also think about just what the candle is doing now. We're looking at market structure, when we're looking at, the candle formations. This could be a bear flag, right? That now comes down at some point. We're now at 1:11 p.m. And so I'm going to take this down to the 15-minute chart. All right, so we can see that this was this week's. Let me come here, go into the drawing tool, and I'm just going to grab this, bring this over. Because at some point, this is going to break out, right? And we can see some people would say, oh, it's just one day. I am a creative, I'm a founder. I know that I am made in the image of God, and so God is a creator. So my brain, like I see the flag, right? And if we think about this, we can see that overall price is now coming back inside the zone that it was in the beginning of the week, right? Or from Friday, from last Friday to now, today. So it is a higher probability, especially if we look, once we break here and we come down, 233.52 could definitely be the next zone. And then again, if we look at, let me see, the measured move, we can be coming down to this area and then down here, just 231.57. And we're just gonna see. We're gonna see this price actually does come and reclaim VWAP. Right now, we're gonna trade what we see. And we see that price has pulled back to this 234.93 level. So I'm going to now go. We have actually let's see, we have 2 minutes left in this candle. And so what I am looking for, my numbers are 234.80. I'm looking for this 80 around 79, this area right here, but I need to see receipts. I need to see that it is going to come back and retest. Now, when you do that, you can miss moves. You can definitely miss moves. But again, nothing is missing me. I'm not missing anything. Yeah, for the moment, I didn't take that one. But my job right now is to protect, our job is to protect our capital, right? And look for high probability trades, especially when you're growing a small account and even when you manage in millions, okay? We want to be a good steward over that because it's so easy to give our money back to the market. And the market knows everything about you. It knows your weaknesses. It knows all. It's playing all kind of tricks and schemes and traps. Okay, and so that's what it wants. It wants the money. So we have to make sure that we're being good stewards over that. And so yeah. So today we talked through IWM. We talked about the different, just walking through it. And just remember, you don't have to do this alone. And so I'm using VWAP today, and then also the 200 EMA. I do see that price rejected. So once it rejected here, this could have been an entry, and me just to take it here, protect to manage that trade. If it starts bouncing off, That could be an indication to get out. If it continues on, put my trail stop on. There's so many things that you can do. Now, you see the 200 EMA here on this lower time frame is above where the candle is now. So that right there is an indication that this is a bearish session, right? Or a bearish sentiment for this time frame. But overall, the trend is bullish. So we got to be thinking about those things. I'm going to see here, does this form a higher high here? If it does and it starts to stack, then it really could cross back over VWAP and this 200 EMA. So we shall see. Because sometimes it just comes and it's just filling up the gas. It's just hitting those stops and building more liquidity or snatching liquidity so it can go back in the direction that it wants to. Now, it is a 3-day weekend, so you have to think about, do I want to hold over a 3-day weekend? There could be news, anything come that shifts the direction. You can wake up on Monday and you can have more money in the bank. You can wake up on Friday and you don't. What what's your risk tolerance, right? How much time do you have on your side? And is this the best move for the account that you are growing, right? If not, trade what you see. We're in the market of trading what we see, but also planning for the future. So I'm actually about to get off. I'm going to be looking for some long-term holds and some shares because if their market is selling, that's an opportunity to get at a discount. So again, think about using different indicators and remember that institutions are also using indicators as well, top traders. And some people that might do trade naked with nothing on their charts, wonderful for them. But as you're continuing to learn, definitely figure out what works best for you. And then also be thinking too, because oftentimes as you look at these different indicators, you'll see market structure is telling you the same thing, right? Or similar, because sometimes these indicators do lag. So you just got to be mindful of that and just understand the market structure. So right now, we are actually under this support area, right? But here's some, some chop here, right? We have that same thing happen here, but as we can see, there's more of a smoother ride here. So we're gonna see if price does close below this 234.69 area. Sorry, have the best day. Keep watching how price moves, okay? You're going to learn by watching how price moves. I am Denisha with Trayvon. And listen, you got this. God's got you. God gave you this amazing opportunity to trade, to learn. Like you can go in here every day, stock market's open. You can make income, build long-term generational wealth, right? And I get it. People are throwing it out all over internet, but this actually is a way that you can do that. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Like, subscribe, and yeah. All right, bye.